Ever walked into a room and immediately felt someone's cold stare, even though you've done nothing wrong? Have you ever shared exciting news with a friend only to see their smile fade and a strange tension set in? It can feel baffling, as if there's a hidden force working against you. What's really behind this silent dislike? Sometimes the reasons aren't about you at all. In this video, we'll explore 9 surprising reasons why people might secretly harbor negative feelings toward you, and how understanding these hidden motivations can change the way you see your relationships. Could it be jealousy? Maybe it was a tiny misunderstanding. Perhaps it's something as deep as clashing beliefs or social pressures you didn't even know existed. By peeling back the layers, we'll uncover what really causes people to turn on us when we least expect it. These insights might just open your eyes to new perspectives. So let's dive in and shed light on this mystery. You might be amazed by what you discover. 1. Envy and jealousy. One of the most common reasons someone might start to secretly resent you is plain old envy or jealousy. Imagine you just landed an exciting promotion at work and you can't wait to tell your coworker, someone you considered a friend. But as soon as you share the news, their face falls. They nod and say, "Congratulations." But behind that forced smile, you sense something else. A flicker of disappointment or even anger. What happened? In truth, your success highlighted something that person deeply wanted for themselves. Envy is a corrosive emotion, like a poison in a relationship. When someone sees qualities or achievements in you that they wish they had, it can turn admiration into bitterness. Instead of feeling proud of your accomplishments, they use your success as a mirror that reflects their own insecurities. Seneca the Younger observed this clearly. Envy of other people shows how unhappy they are. Their continual attention to others' behavior shows how boring their own life is. In other words, a person fixated on your life is often unhappy with their own. This jealousy can quietly build resentment. In the example above, your coworker might start telling others that you were just lucky or didn't earn that promotion, trying to diminish your achievement. They may gossip behind your back or even attempt subtle sabotage, hoping that bringing you down will ease their own frustration. It's a sneaky cycle. Their unhappiness grows and you become the target. Here's an important thing to remember. Their envy and jealousy belong to them, not to you. As Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, famously taught, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In other words, you can't control that someone else feels jealous, but you can control your response. Don't let their negative emotions change how you feel about yourself or your success. Keep being your best self, and know that their resentment says more about their own struggles than about anything you did. By focusing on what you can control, your actions and attitude, you stay true to yourself and keep your peace, no matter what others project. 2. Misunderstandings and poor communication. Sometimes people secretly hate you simply because of a misunderstanding, a small mix-up in communication that grew into something larger. Think about a time you meant to say something harmless, but your words were taken the wrong way. Maybe you gave a sarcastic compliment, nice haircut, even though it looks different, and the other person felt insulted. Or perhaps your tone over text came off cold when you really meant to be friendly. These tiny miscommunications can sow seeds of resentment. For example, imagine you're talking with a colleague and you crack a joke about a situation. You're just teasing in a playful way, but they don't realize it and feel hurt. The next time you interact, they might become defensive or snippy, even though you are completely unaware of anything amiss. Over time, those little misunderstandings stack up. Unanswered messages, curt replies, shrugged off apologies. The other person starts thinking you're being dismissive or rude on purpose, and a grudge quietly forms. This often happens without any dramatic incident at all. A slight frown or a tone that sounds annoyed can be enough. Our brains love to fill in gaps, so if someone hears an unintended edge in your voice, they might imagine you despise them. Once that thought takes root, it colors every interaction. Before you know it, someone might have convinced themselves you are angry with them or looking down on them, and they let that idea turn into dislike. The good news is that most of this can be cleared up with empathy and listening. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus gave us a good rule to avoid these traps. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. If we truly listen and try to understand each other, there's much less room for error. Did the other person really mean it when they rolled their eyes? Was there a reason they didn't respond to a text? Before assuming the worst, we should ask questions and clarify. Remember, men are not disturbed by things but by their opinions about them. Epictetus also taught, that means your friend might be upset not by what you said, but by their interpretation of it. The moment you realize this, you can approach the situation differently. Open, honest communication is key. If you suspect a misunderstanding, calmly bring it up. I feel like something happened between us. Did I say something that bothered you? Often the truth is that there was no ill intent at all, just crossed wires. By clearing things up, you can prevent a tiny mix-up from growing into a real problem. 3. Clashing values and beliefs. Every person carries a unique set of values, beliefs, and life principles, like puzzle pieces that form the picture of who they are. Sometimes your personal puzzle pieces just don't fit with someone else's. When deeply held values collide, resentment can brew. Imagine 2 friends who have always gotten along, until one day one of them falls in love and wants to move to a new country. The other friend, valuing loyalty to hometown and tradition, feels betrayed. Suddenly a gap has opened between them. Differences in fundamentals, politics, religion, lifestyle choices can unexpectedly turn someone against you. It might not be about anything you did personally, but simply that your choices challenge what they believe is right. For example, one person might be very career-driven, while another prioritizes family and leisure. If the career person frequently skips family events for work and the other sees that as selfish, resentment can build on both sides. Each side thinks the other doesn't understand what matters. When someone holds their beliefs as absolute, they can see anyone who disagrees as a threat. Your different opinion or lifestyle might feel like a challenge to them. They may think, if they can do that and be happy, why am I not? And rather than learning from the difference, they might instead push back or lash out at you. It's a defensive reaction. Stoic wisdom helps here. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus teaches that each person is shaped by their own upbringing and experiences, so everyone's perspective is different. As he said, no man is free who is not master of himself, meaning we shouldn't be slaves to rigid judgments. In practical terms, acknowledge that your values aren't the only values. Extend the same tolerance to others that you want for your own beliefs. Put yourself in their shoes and try to understand why they hold their position. If someone's dislike toward you is actually about values, the solution isn't to win or force them to change. That rarely works. Instead, try to bridge the gap with respect. You might say something like, I see that you feel strongly about this. Let's talk about it. Sometimes understanding where they're coming from can dissolve the tension. And if you find the differences are too big, it might be healthiest to give each other some space. In any case, remember that it's okay to stand by your own beliefs too, as long as you do it respectfully. Living authentically can be better than pretending to fit in someone else's mold. 4th, rumors, gossip, and third-party stories. Have you ever been blindsided by someone acting cold toward you and later found out it was based on a rumor? Gossip is a powerful and dangerous force. Picture this. You hear that a classmate is avoiding you, whispering about you, but you have no idea why. Eventually you learn that someone spread a story claiming you did something unkind, something you never even knew happened. Even without evidence, people tend to believe the scandalous story. Suddenly you look like the bad guy in others' eyes, all because of hearsay. Rumors spread quickly and mutate along the way. It's like playing the worst version of telephone. A harmless coincidence can be twisted into a malicious tale. The very hint of scandal or drama makes it more interesting, so people share it eagerly. Did you hear about X? I heard he did something negative. Before long, the rumor takes on a life of its own. You haven't done anything wrong, but others start acting like you did. They might avoid you or speak of you with suspicion, believing a distorted version of reality. Gossip often plays on existing biases. If someone already feels jealous or distrustful, they'll latch onto a rumor that fits that bias. That's how whispers can turn into hatred. The worst part is, it's almost impossible to catch up once a lie has spread. Even if you later explain yourself, some people may still think, well, there must be some truth to it. Otherwise, why would those rumors exist? It feels like you're fighting shadows, because you're not fighting the person, but an idea of you that was built on falsehood. In these cases, the Stoics have good advice. Focus on your own integrity and let truth be your armor. Epictetus gave a great example. If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, "He was ignorant of my other faults." Meaning recognize that people only see and judge what they know, often an incomplete picture. In practice, if you hear someone's talking, it's usually a reflection of their own limited perspective, not a full portrait of you. So what can you do when you're on the receiving end of gossip? First, stay calm. Angry reactions can fuel the fire. Instead, be consistent and continue living by your values. Authenticity is powerful. If the situation allows, politely clarify the truth with the people who matter. But remember, you cannot control every rumor. There is a Stoic saying that goes, "Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harm." You can't always stop others from talking, but you can choose not to let it poison your peace. Keep being honest and kind, and in the long run, your true character will shine through far more clearly than any lie ever could. 5. Personal insecurities and projection. Sometimes the reason someone hates you has nothing to do with you at all, and everything to do with them. People often project their own insecurities onto others, especially onto those who seem to lack those same fears. For example, suppose Alice feels insecure about her social life. She's worried she's not popular or interesting. Then she meets you, someone who quickly makes friends everywhere. Alice might start to resent you, thinking you're showing off or deliberately leaving her out, even if you're just being friendly. In reality, her insecurity about herself is making her interpret your behavior negatively. Projection works like this. If someone sees in you a trait or success they secretly desire or envy, they might lash out because seeing it hurts them. Say you're confident in groups, but you have a classmate who feels shy and withdrawn. That classmate might start pretending to dislike you or ignoring you because your confidence highlights their own lack of it. It's easier for them to blame you for being showy than to deal with their own feelings. The philosopher Seneca pointed out that so much of our conflict comes from misunderstanding ourselves more than from others. While he didn't say it exactly, his ideas remind us that often we are not disturbed by what happens to us, but by our own judgments about what happens. An insecure person might judge your actions with their own fears, thinking you're being arrogant or unsympathetic, even when you're not. It's important to remember in these situations, none of this is your fault. If someone is jealous or threatened by what you have or how you are, that's a struggle they're working through internally. You've done nothing wrong simply by being you. In fact, often what feels like personal hatred is really just their way of coping with feeling inadequate. What can you do? Stay compassionate, but protect yourself. You might quietly distance yourself from someone who projects heavily. Their negativity can drain you. But if the relationship is important, sometimes a gentle conversation helps. You could say, "Hey, I feel like there's tension between us. Did I do something to upset you?" They might not admit it, but it could open a door. Even if they don't respond well, you'll feel better knowing you tried to clear the air. At the very least, understand that their hostility is about their inner fears, not about you. Keeping that perspective can help you not take their negativity personally and maintain your own confidence and kindness in spite of it. 6. Lack of empathy and understanding. Another hidden cause of resentment is simple. Some people just lack empathy. They have trouble seeing things from anyone else's point of view. When empathy is missing, even a kind gesture can be twisted. For instance, imagine you share news of a personal achievement and expect a friendly, "That's great." But if the other person is unable to share in your joy, they might shrink away or change the subject. Their blank reaction might hurt you, and you may never know it's because they actually feel nothing for you, not because you did something wrong. In cases like this, someone might mistake normal behavior for arrogance or indifference. Suppose you tell a friend you're starting to date someone new. If they already struggle to connect with your feelings, they might think you're gloating, or they might simply respond coldly. Later, seeing you happy could make them feel unappreciated for not having the same experience. They internalize it, concluding, "Look at them rubbing it in," when really you said nothing of the sort. This misunderstanding fuels unfair resentment. People with low empathy often view the world in black and white. If they can't understand why you acted a certain way, they might judge it harshly. Perhaps you canceled plans because you had an emergency, but they see it as a sign that you don't value their time. Without understanding your situation, they easily decide you were in the wrong. Over time, these judgments accumulate. Without empathy, they never question their assumptions. Stoicism teaches us that when someone behaves poorly, it often reveals their own limitations. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius advised being compassionate to others when they act badly, thinking, "They do not know what is truly good and bad." We might apply this by recognizing that a lack of empathy is a sort of blindness. The person simply can't see the full picture. What to do? If someone's comments or actions leave you feeling hurt, it's okay to clarify gently. You might say, "I'm sorry, did I come off as insensitive? That wasn't my intention." Sometimes this can help the other person realize they misunderstood. But if they continue to react without empathy, it may not be worth trying to fix. Instead, limit deep sharing with them. It's not your job to compensate for their inability to understand. Focus on surrounding yourself with empathetic people who cherish you. And if a person's coldness feels deliberate, remember that often their animosity stems from simply not understanding others, not from genuine hate toward you. 7. Unhealthy competition or rivalry. Competition itself isn't a bad thing, but when it becomes obsessive, it can breed hatred. Think about rivals, classmates who constantly compare grades, co-workers eyeing each other's successes, or even siblings always trying to outdo each other. In healthy doses, that competition can motivate, but sometimes it spirals into a win-at-all-costs mentality. If someone views life as a zero-sum game, your success might feel like their defeat. For example, suppose you and a sibling have always been compared by parents, and they were constantly told to see each other as competitors. You get the lead role in the school play, and instead of being happy for you, your brother starts acting resentful. Suddenly, every compliment you receive feels like an insult to him. He may begin to pick fights, dismiss your achievements as unimportant, or hint that you only got what you have because of favoritism. His rivalry has turned into hostility. Competition can also appear in friendships or on social media, where people feel the need to show that their life is better. If you post a photo of your fun vacation, a friend who felt left out might secretly seethe, thinking, "Why didn't I get invited?" This can turn the friend quiet or even cold in real life, without them even realizing why. Marcus Aurelius had something wise to say about this. The best revenge is not to become like your enemy. In other words, if someone is driven by rivalry and tries to pull you down, don't stoop to their level. Don't sabotage them back or get caught in petty games. Instead, focus on your own path and integrity. You're not playing their game. It can be helpful to transform rivalry into healthy motivation. If you notice someone competing with you, try complimenting them or offering teamwork. If both of you aim high together, you both win. But sometimes that person might not play fair or might not appreciate collaboration. In such cases, keep your distance from the competition. Celebrate your own successes quietly, and remember that another person's win is not your loss. There really is room for everyone to shine. When you resist engaging in destructive competition, you not only protect your peace, but often win respect in the long run. 8. Social expectations and norms. This one is a bit subtle. People sometimes resent you simply because you refuse to follow the crowd. We live in societies filled with unwritten rules. What career you should have, what life milestones to hit at what ages, how to act in public, and so on. When you break these norms, even if you're perfectly happy doing so, others might feel uncomfortable or threatened by your choices. That discomfort can turn into silent disapproval or even outright dislike. Imagine you come from a family or community that expects you to take over the family business, but you decide instead to travel the world and pursue your own dream job. Each time you visit home, relatives might give you the cold shoulder or make passive-aggressive remarks about your unusual path. Deep down, they might feel that you're challenging their values or betraying traditions they hold dear. Even though all you've done is choose a different happiness, their judgments can feel very personal. In another scenario, say you're the only one among your friends who doesn't want to get married young or doesn't drink alcohol at parties. The others may start to see you as an outlier and treat you differently. They might think, why doesn't he fit in with the rest of us? Sometimes their reaction is fear of the unknown. Your choices highlight that they too could choose a different path, and that uncertainty makes them uneasy. The Stoic approach encourages living in accordance with your own nature, rather than bending to societal pressure. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." In context, that means judge yourself by your own conscience, not by the shifting opinions of the crowd. It also implies being tolerant of others' judgments. They come from their conditioning, which they find hard to break. So when someone resents you for your life choices, remember, you are simply living authentically. You shouldn't have to apologize for being true to yourself. As one Stoic idea teaches, focus on your own virtue and well-being and let others deal with their discomfort. Over time, people may come to respect your courage, or at least accept you. But even if they don't, the life you're building is yours alone. Stand by it confidently. The pressures of social expectations can be powerful, but they are not worth sacrificing your happiness and authenticity. 9. Feeling overlooked or unrecognized. Finally, a very human source of resentment is feeling unappreciated. Everyone likes to feel seen and valued. If someone feels their hard work or kind nature is taken for granted, they can harbor bitterness toward those who do get recognition, even if it's for reasons beyond anyone's control. Sometimes this turns into secret dislike or hatred toward those who are more in the spotlight. Consider a group project where you put in hours of effort, but another team member always gets praised in front of the boss. Over time, your frustration might seep into resentment for that team member, even if they've done nothing wrong. You start thinking, why does she always get the glory while I'm invisible? If unchecked, this can become envy again. You might begin acting cold toward the successful person, assuming they somehow took credit intentionally. Our Stoic teacher Musonius Rufus had a quote for this: "It is possible to be a good person without anyone realizing it. Remember that the gods, not other people, will reward us." In simpler terms, your worth isn't defined by who pats you on the back or who acknowledges you. Some people need a lot of external validation. If that need isn't met, they might redirect their frustration at those they perceive as having it easier. The trick is communication and internal validation. If you're in a position to do so, make sure to give credit where it's due. A simple "great job" or "I appreciate your work" can diffuse a lot of potential bitterness. If someone is feeling overlooked, a little recognition might turn their resentment into gratitude. And if you are the one feeling unrecognized, know that others' failure to notice doesn't lessen your value. Find pride in knowing you did well on your own terms. Sometimes people who feel ignored keep it to themselves. But if you sense that jealousy or hurt is brewing in someone close to you, it's okay to reach out. I notice you've been quiet lately. Did something about work bother you? This shows you care and can prevent a misunderstanding from deepening. Ultimately, remember you can't force others to appreciate you. Focus instead on being the kind, hardworking person you already are, and maintain relationships with people who do see your worth. In the end, the happiness that comes from doing good or achieving success should be its own reward. Don't let someone else's insensitivity rob you of that joy. If you've made it this far, you now have a map of the hidden reasons someone might secretly dislike you. To recap, it's often not because you're inherently unlikable. People's negativity usually springs from their own issues. Envy, misunderstandings, clashing values, rumors, insecurity, lack of empathy, unhealthy competition, social pressures, or feeling unrecognized. Keeping this in mind can help you navigate tricky relationships. When someone seems to hate you for no obvious reason, try not to internalize it. Take a breath and consider these 9 possibilities. If you can identify a cause, you may be able to address it. For example, clear up any miscommunication, or simply accept that some differences are unchangeable and let them go. Often the best approach is compassionate detachment. You sympathize with their struggle, yet you don't let their negativity shake you. You control only your own actions and attitude, not theirs. In fact, this mindset echoes the Stoic path. Focus on being the best version of yourself and let go of what you can't control. Every challenge is an opportunity to practice wisdom and kindness. By understanding the reasons behind others' hidden hatred, you transform confusion into insight and frustration into calm. Thank you so much for watching. If this video resonated with you, please give it a like and share it with someone who might need to hear these truths. Your support helps us create more content like this. I'd also love to hear from you. Leave a comment below sharing your story or thoughts. Have you ever dealt with any of these 9 situations? How did you handle it? And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration into personal growth and understanding. Remember, you have the power to rise above negativity. Each of us is unique, and focusing on your own integrity and kindness will light the way forward. Embrace who you are, cherish those who support you, and let every challenge be a chance to grow. I'll see you in the next video. Stay strong and keep shining your light.